I can imagine nothing more terrifying than to be out to sea with no land in sight and be caught in a storm. In our lives, we can face many storms that threaten our fate. It may seem calm to all of those around us, but within our hearts and minds there is great turmoil. These inward emotional and spiritual storms are just as destructive to our souls as a tornado would be to our homes. The Gospels record an account when Jesus and his disciples were caught in a violent storm upon the Sea of Galilee. In the mind of the ancient Hebrews, the seas were an unknown abyss of darkness and chaos, the center of demonic activity, and only God himself could hold back the forces of the sea. As the winds and waves of the storm began to endanger the ship in which the disciples were sailing, they might have imagined that the storm was caused by demonic powers. I know that in our scientific and rational age, many do not take seriously the concept of demonic powers, but we cannot deny the power of evil and the confusion and chaos that evil brings into our lives. When we're caught in the midst of these storms, the cry of the disciples becomes our own. God, don't you care that we're perishing? As the disciples struggled to keep their ship afloat, Jesus was sleeping. But once the disciples got his attention, Jesus rebuked the storm with the words, "Peace, be still." Immediately the winds and the waves became calm. Utterly amazed, the disciples asked, "Who can this be that even the wind and sea obey him?" Jesus Christ is God the Son, who took upon himself the nature of humanity. Therefore, God has given to him all power and authority. When we encounter the devastating storms of life, we must remember the words of the Psalms. God, you rule the raging of the seas, and when the waves rise, you still them. In the midst of the storms, we're not alone, and the storms will cease. In Christ, we have a peace which surpasses all understanding. This has been Dan Tomberlin.